Okay, so we did a little bit of scratch work already for this problem. And what we're going to do now is figure out how we're going to organize and explain all of our work. And so we decided that we're going to divide this up in fourths, except I'm going to leave some room at the bottom to write my answer out as a sentence. So I'm leaving a little space here. I'm going to divide this part into quarters, roughly. And when you're doing this on your own, you don't necessarily have to draw lines. But I think for some of us, that's just a good tool to make sure that we're using the space appropriately and we're not going to run out of space. Huh? Right now, you don't have to draw the lines. If you want to try it without, you totally can. Okay, so we said we're going to put our equation and our work over here. So this answer bubble is for like the whole thing. So you can box that off if you want to make that separate. Okay, so we wrote our equation for this problem. Each game costs $5. They told us that the number of games was n, and we know that he has $20 to spend. So we just took a little time already figuring out how to set that up. And so our equation that we wrote was 5n equals 20. And basically that meant 5 times the number of games that he plays is how much he's actually going to spend. And the other side is how much money he has to spend. So we want that to equal out. And then we talked about how to solve the equation. When we're showing our work, we need to show division on both sides of the equation, because that's the division property of equality. That's what makes it legal to do that division. And then we solved it and found that n was 4. So this is our number sentence and our work on how we came up with the answer. Now we could, because we know what the answer is, go ahead and write our answer as a sentence down here. And so the question, we're trying to figure out how many games he can play. So down here we will write Thomas can play 4 games. And so that's the answer that we came up with. We'll just write that in sentence form because that's one of our requirements. Okay, so that's in a sentence. We showed our work. And so if we were going to explain our work over here, we can write our explanation out of what we did. So we solved the problem by writing the equation 5n equals 20 and solving for n. We can put that we solved for n by dividing both sides of the equation by 5. Okay?
Because it does not look like
solving
and solved it.
I don't know what that word is. So writing and solving for n. It's actually a word for and then n. I'll try to make that neater. There we go. 2 sentences is not too much writing. Trust me, this is simple compared to high school stuff. Okay? So we showed how we solved the problem over here. We have a number sentence. We explained it over here. Now down here we're going to show how we checked it. So we can show 5 times 4 equals 20. So we put the 4 back into our equation and then just show, look, it works. And then we'll have room to squeeze an explanation in here. So we can say we checked our answer by substituting for back into the equation to see if it worked. Okay? One sentence. It's just one sentence. This is multiplication because we took the 4 for our answer.
explain our work, is it multiplication at the end? Or is that
No.
besides the equation by 5?
Equation by 5. We divided both sides of the equation by 5. Sorry, my handwriting's not so good today. All right, so in this last little bubble, we said we were going to draw a picture. If you want to draw a different picture than me, I'm okay with that. The picture that we drew to kind of sort this out was we had a $20 bill. That's what he could spend. And then we started dividing that into $5 games. So it's $5 for the first bowling game, $5 for the second one, so that gets me up to $10, 15, and 20. And we just showed that basically this would represent the 4 games that they could play. If you took the $20 and where you were spending at $5 on each game, you would get a total of 4 games. So that's it. It does take a while. That's why we don't do these every day, but it helps us really think about the problem. Now, at the bottom, we're going to go through our steps and just check off everything and make sure that we didn't forget anything. So the first thing says, you organized your solution. Show this in green. So usually, if you didn't draw lines before, I would just kind of highlight how this is organized with green. Just showing those dividing lines kind of helps us show we organized it and broke it up into different pieces and made sure that our space was used correctly. Okay? So that's the first one. Oh, and then I should check it off with the same color green down here. That way if you have some funky colors, we'll know that that's what that was. Okay? You used number sentences with proper math symbols. Highlight this in yellow. Since we're using colored pencils, we'll just box that in yellow or circle it in yellow. Right here, this is the number sentence that we started with. An equation is a number sentence. Okay? And then we can check that off with a nice yellow. And you could use a yellow highlighter for that if you want to. I am okay with that. All right, the next one is you used excellent math vocabulary. We didn't use a lot, but we used some. We're going to circle math vocabulary terms in dark blue. So let me make sure I have dark blue. Okay, so what were some of the math vocabulary words that we used? Who can give me a vocabulary word that we used? Tommy. Substituting was a good word. Okay. What's another one? Winter. Equation is one. And we used equation up here. We have equation in there a lot of times. Dividing is a math term. And so we have several. We probably could have worked in more if we wanted to. We could have said the solution is 4. That might have been something. We could have worked in the word solution somewhere if we wanted to. That was one of our vocab words. But we did okay. I think using the word substituting and equation and dividing, we still got some good math vocabulary going on there. Oops, I forgot to check that off. So let's check off that we have checked that. You drew a picture or diagram. Draw a box around the pictures or diagrams in red. So I'm just going to box this over here in red. That I drew a picture or a diagram over here. Oh, and then I need to check that off in red. Down here. You labeled your pictures and diagrams. Underline the labels in brown. So I labeled mine with $signs. Hang on, I got to find my brown.
4 games.
We also labeled 4 games. So we have this. I've got these all on here. So I've got lots of labels going on. And so we underline our labels in brown. We're going to check that off down here. Shh. Then the next part says you explained what you did to find the solution. Underline the steps and explanation in pink. So some of our colored pencils don't have pink. You can use a pink highlighter You could use a red colored pencil really lightly. So our steps are up here in pink. So our steps are up here in pink. So you could technically underline these steps, and you could underline all of this in pink. We explained it and we showed our steps, so all of that sort of together. I used a pink pen because that's what I had. And I have pink crayons if we need them too. Okay, so we underlined our steps in pink. We underlined this in pink. Down here, you explained how you know the solution is correct. Underline the explanation in light blue. And so this, where we explain how we know it's correct, we can put in light blue over here, this explanation in light blue, and then we can check that off. Okay. Shh. You wrote your answer in a sentence at the end. Underline your answer sentence in purple. Be careful. I have a hard time between dark blue and purple. I have to look because they look the same to me. So we do have that sentence here at the end. I'll underline that in purple. Put this in purple. We check it off. And then you double checked your answer. Put a box around this in orange. And so that's where we are substituting over here. And you could also technically, show this picture over here as checking your answer also. The picture can be how you checked your answer, and so you could box this in orange too if you wanted to. I realize it's the picture, but sometimes the picture is also how we check. Okay, so when you guys are doing your assignment, when we get done, this is pretty marked up. So when you do your assignment, since, well, I'm trying to think.
Where's the copy it?
Well, I don't know if you're going to be able to because you're going to have to take it home. Go ahead and just mark up your original. Or I could give you 2 copies, but then you have to rewrite it. So I don't know. Let's just go ahead and mark up the original this time instead of making a photocopy. And we'll just do it one time and that'll be fine.